All right. In the next few minutes, I'm going to give you the number one way to upgrade your life permanently. Your life, no matter how boring, no matter how monotonous, no matter what struggles you face, no matter what you are up against, we're going to upgrade your life. I have done this. It's proven, it's simple, it's straightforward. I've explained this to many of my friends and close associates. I've also explained it to some joint venture partners because I am in business. I'm an entrepreneur. My brother Matt Rhodes and I'm John S. Rhodes. We sell and market, we create, we write, we launch. And as part of what we do, we interact with a lot of people, obviously close people, but also people who are very, very far away. And when we have a chance, we tell those who are closest to us that there is a way to immediately, instantly upgrade your life. And here is a great fact: you do not need to spend more money. You don't even need to lift weights or go exercise or get on a bike. You don't need more relationships instantly. You don't need to worry about looking outside and enjoying the sunlight. You don't need to take cold plunges. You don't need to do really anything except make a small mental shift. So, if you are ready for this, we will dive right in. It begins in a very interesting way. If you think about life, you know that you came from somewhere and you know that you will end someday, right? Keep the end in mind. Memento mori, right? So it is about death. Yes, you will end. The end is near. That is, unless the singularity comes and allows us to somehow merge with technology, or there's a some sort of biomedical breakthrough. So there's a beginning and there is very, very likely some sort of end. Now, with that in mind, there is a finite amount of time to be working with, and you can accumulate all the wealth and the riches that you want. You can be in outstanding physical health. You could have an incredible number of friends and have loving relationships with family and just have a great life in so many ways. But you might not feel wonderful no matter how good all these things are. At the other end of the spectrum, you might be very depressed. You might be very worried and anxious all the time. You might have problems. You might have struggles stemming from work, perhaps from health. It could be things that you're up against, on a yearly basis. Every year, something comes around and something big just smacks you in the face, and that can be very frustrating. And many people think that, oh, if I had $1 million, if I had 5 million, if I had billions of dollars, life would instantly be better. While that is true, there's a saying that is very accurate: money solves money problems, but there are always problems. You could have loads of money and still have health problems. You could have loads of money and have great health, but also have terrible relationships. And you can mix and match any of these, and you'll realize that no matter what scenario that you're in, having a perfect life is all but impossible. An absolutely perfect life, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's pretty close to impossible. So we begin with these things in mind. And we're going to shift now. We're going to shift into a different space. And really, frankly, it's a mental space. It's a mental shift. There's no need to change locations. There's no need to go on some journey. There's just no need to make a radical, real world change. Again, it's a mental shift. So that should get you pretty excited that all it takes is a mental shift. And this one mental shift has allowed me to make hundreds, thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars in a single day. And I really do truly mean that. I've made thousands and thousands of dollars in days. And it's just really a great thing because of this mental shift, this approach. So by now, you have probably made a few guesses about what I'm talking about. And typically, when I have this kind of conversation back and forth with someone, it comes down to the guesses being things like, oh, like an inheritance or found money, or suddenly you realize that you are you are much wealthier than you believe. You're living in the United States. Because you live in the United States, you're so wealthy. In other cases, it's people saying, "Oh, it's because you can shift from the way you're thinking now as a consumer to a producer," and that's great. If you can shift your thinking from being a consumer to a producer, that means you can generate value, you can put the value into the world, and when you do that, you're likely to reap fantastic rewards. So that does work. It's a tactic, however. It's a tool, it's a mechanism. It's not a profound strategic shift. Still, other people say, "Oh, your network is your net worth." I'm going to say that again because it's really a great saying. Your network is your net worth. And that's true. You could take everything away from me and I could simply reach out to my network and we could run a promotion. We could launch a product. We could do a whole host of things and I would generate wealth from the value I provide to and through my network. And this is fantastic. This is wonderful. It is the way of business. It's the way of life to be successful. So your network can indeed reflect your net worth and vice versa. So that's also true. And we could play this game back and forth for a very, very long time because the guesses usually come down to tactics and very, very simple blocking and tackling activities, those things that get you wealth, that build relationships, that improve the day to day of life. And that still is not the profound insight, the real breakthrough of how to always be successful no matter what. And this is truly the number one way to upgrade your life. It's a subtle shift, and here we go. What you want to do in most cases to instantly upgrade your life is to treat life as a game. So let's take a step back and consider everything that we've already covered. We have a limited amount of time, assuming that there is no breakthrough, and we have a limited amount of time on this earth with friends, with our health, with our wealth, and so forth. So there's a limited window of opportunity. Now you might say, I've only got X number of years or months or days, and we can count those. We can estimate about how long we're going to live. And that's what the insurance companies do after all, and they're pretty accurate about it. So let's think about that. If you have a limited number of days, that means that every single day could in fact be something like a new opportunity for you. But that's the weird thing. Most people just sort of take life as a continuous flow or a continuous stream. If you make the adjustment and treat life as a game, well, games always have things like levels. Games always have the big bad boss. Games always have certain rules. Games just always have certain parameters or ways of acting. Now, I really want you to think about that for a moment. Like, pause if you need to, and think about how every game has some kind of structure. But when you play games that other people have created, when you do that, we all do it, but when you play those games, other people have created the rules, and you must abide by their rules. So if you abide by someone else's rules, it means you are a slave to the rules that they have built. Now, you might not think that way or feel that harshly about it, but even how you view reality, how you perceive things. And in fact, there is scientific evidence that says what you expect to see, you will see. What you believe is happening and what you believe the world is doing and how it operates, that's how it operates. So we place our judgment upon the world, upon the physical world, and even the metaphysical world. So our beliefs, our judgment, our thinking, our consciousness impacts the nature of reality itself. There are many ways to think about this. I'll give you a very, very simple example. As soon as I say something as silly as, Don't think about the giant, wet, pink elephant. As soon as I say pink elephant, the image of a pink elephant very likely has been planted into your mind. It's virtually impossible not to view or sense or even almost feel that pink elephant in your mind residing. And so what I've just done is I have taken a small piece of your reality and I've shifted it. I've shifted your reality simply by saying something. Now, language is made up of rules, sentences, words, paragraphs, books. They're words, they are concepts. They may or may not be physical things. It doesn't matter. What matters is there's a transfer of rules and rules-based thinking and even reality shifting from my mind to yours or from the outside world into your mind. And you just obey, you accept. And it's impossible, in fact. We are hardwired as humans. We are hardwired to zero in on the rules that have been imposed upon us. Now, I've thought a lot about this. I think a key reason for this is that we are social animals. We're biological social animals. Sure, we vibrate at certain frequencies, and there's all the debate about what consciousness is. There's more than meets the eye. There is far more than meets the eye. In fact, the visible spectrum that we can see with our eyeballs is a very, very, very minuscule part of the electromagnetic spectrum. That matters. That means that there's all of this other stuff happening now in terms of vibration and frequencies and energy that we simply can't see. It's impossible to see these things. So those rules, right, are not imposed upon us in the same way because we don't have the apparatus. We do not have the senses to pick those things up. But again, pause and take a step back and think of all the things in your life that are imposed upon you, and yet you never question them. In fact, it's almost impossible to question them unless it's been brought to your attention that you can question them. This is very, very profound, and it allows you to get ultra creative with minimum effort. It takes very little to get creative because all you need to do is look around and consider the rules that may or may not be thrust upon you in the environment or the situation that you're in. Like, why am I friends with that person? What is it about that person that makes me more or less friendly to them? How can I be good to that person? How do I know that that other person thinks that what I'm doing is good? You don't need to get too wrapped up in these questions, but if you want to, you can. You could actually use what's known as the 5 whys. So anything you can just say, well, why? Okay, well, why that? Well, why that? Well, why that? I might say something to you like, why are you having trouble with money? And then you say something like, I don't have a good job. And I might say, well, why don't you have a good job? And then you might say, I don't have the education. Well, why don't you have the education? Well, we didn't have any money when I was younger. Well, why didn't you have money when you were younger? Well, my parents didn't have any money. So we've done 5 whys, and it's gone from the beginning to the end, and there's a trail. There's a trail. And when it comes down to it, you've been imprinted with poverty thinking without your knowing due to the situation that you grew up in with your parents. Doesn't mean your parents were bad people. Not at all, not a bit. But you might not have money because the environment that you were in was built, structured, adhered to rules that did not provide you with an opportunity to think bigger and longer and more strongly about the possibility of value creation and wealth creation. And in fact, I might be able to expand your mind on that right now. Down in the description below, you'll see several different links that have been made available by the Rhodes brothers, and you can see the kind of things that we make available to people, the kind of dreams that we had. And maybe those dreams align with your dreams now, and those dreams and those structures and those rules are better than what you might have grown up with. So again, the rules that are around you can be seen and understood with something as simple as asking the 5 whys. This is a very powerful and profound insight. Now, back to upgrading your life in an instant, in a flash. This is a real breakthrough. If you treat life as a game, and it's, let's say, finite, it could be an infinite game, but if we treat it as finite, it's a little easier. If that is the case, then what you can do is you can treat each day as a brand new opportunity, truly a brand new day. So when you wake up, you think to yourself, today is another day I get to play the game. Today is another day I walk on stage and I get to be the actor that I want to be. I want to be this kind of person. I want to make this kind of choice. And even if you don't think that anything has changed in that particular day, the reality is that it has changed. I can't tell you by how much or how it's changed, but just by having that thought that life is a game and that today is a brand new opportunity to play the game, as soon as you do that, you get more playful, more creative. You look at the rules around you. You might have more of a devil may care attitude. You might do that. You might throw away some of the junk that is around you, physical, mental. You might reconsider choices that you made in the past, and maybe you can make better decisions this time around. Absolutely. Why can't you do that? The only thing stopping you from making this shift is you. It's not me. It's not even the whole of reality. And even if you consider yourself as a part of all reality, there are many places in reality, in this universe. There are many energies and frequencies that are better for you to tune into, and those energies and frequencies are rooting for you to make a positive change. There is positive energy and a positive change out there. You might think of it as an alternate reality. You might think of it as a different dimension. You might think of it as a different frequency, but it comes down to maybe another person, another idea, another concept, another day that you've got to make the smallest, subtlest change that could lead to a cascading effect one day after another of wealth creation, better friendships, better relationships, better health, everything, and then some. But it only really happens when you treat day-to-day life as a game, because it's so easy to allow the outside world to dictate those rules, to enslave you. And this is what you feel in terms of the world changing as it is. That's what you are feeling, the stress and the depression, because those seem to be the rules that have shifted for so many people, and they haven't treated life as a game as they should, and they haven't achieved the breakthroughs that they deserve. And I believe that you deserve that kind of breakthrough right here and right now. And in fact, you can begin the game at any point in time. You can begin the game right now. It can be morning, noon, or night. It could be right before you go to bed that the game begins. That might lead to some lucid dreaming if it was at the end of the night. And in the morning, it's carte blanche, right? Tabula rasa, right? Blank slate, very much. And this is very exciting. It is very, very exciting. It's how you can wake up anew, refreshed every day, because even if the day before was bad, the only thing that counts really is the now, literally the right here, right now. Your past, you can't change it. And in fact, oddly, when you think this way, you can't change the future. You can set yourself up for success in the future, but you can't be immediately in the future except in your mind and projecting forward. You can't be in the future. You can only be here in the now. And you're always in the here and now. You might revise the past. You might project the future. You might time travel in your mind forwards and backwards, go to other dimensions. By all means, do it. Break the rules, create new rules. Go forth, prosper, have fun with that. But you're here in the now. But again, every single day, every day is a new day to play the game anew and fresh. And that, my friend, is the immediate, instant upgrade that anyone can have and anyone can embrace if they're willing to do so. So I strongly encourage you to do that. I also encourage you to take a look in the description below on the platform here. Like, share, comment, of course, but look down below and you might find something that is exactly right for you right now. This is John S. Rhodes, and on behalf of the Rhodes brother, including my brother Matt Rhodes, again, on behalf of the Rhodes brothers, John Rhodes, Matt Rhodes, thank you for spending time. We'll see you in the next training. If you love this, please do pass it on to friends and family. Here to help, and take care.